Hello, everybody from around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Samson coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Wow, very excited tonight to be with all of you. Tonight we have a very special guest on the webinar, and it's going to be a treat. First, I would like to just acknowledge all the people logging in from all over the world. I'm looking at the list right here where people from North America, like California, Texas, Toronto, Canada, Vancouver, Malaysia. Hello, Malaysia. We got Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Indonesia, India. Oh, we even have people all over Greater China. Welcome, welcome, everybody. And, there are more and more people logging on right now. So if you just got on and you want to check if your business partner is on or your friend is on the webinar to get educated tonight, okay? So tonight, we have a very special guest. This gentleman, I was very fortunate to meet, I believe in 2010, 2011. He became a part of the Jeunesse family. When I found out about his background, I was amazed because this gentleman literally is one of the pioneers in preventative health and anti-aging. As you know, Jeunesse, it is about staying young, but staying young, some scientists define aging even as a disease because things happen where your body breaks down and, over time, your body loses the ability to repair itself and then we move on, right? So, but this gentleman is literally one of the pioneers. He was the first president of the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. He's well known throughout the world as a health and anti-aging expert. So anyway, I don't want to waste too much time. Let's bring him on, folks. So please help me welcome our amazing doctor, Dr. Vincent Giampapa. Hello, Dr. Giampapa. How are you?
Good evening, Samson. Good evening, everyone all over the parts of the globe. My pleasure.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on our webinar. Tonight it's our global broadcast, and we're very fortunate to have you, especially, at this time of our global crisis here. I guess I could say it like that. So first, thank you for coming on. So now I know you're in Pennsylvania, you were saying, right?
I am in the mountains of Pennsylvania, away from New York, New Jersey, and in a very good, safe place, and getting a lot of work done. So it's a great respite from my normal routine.
Yeah, or else you'll be traveling all over the world speaking. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Well, great to have you with us. So tonight, I know we were talking last week. You were on with Mark McDonald on a webinar with me and another business partner of ours.
Right.
And we started talking, and you mentioned that you recently wrote a blog on the immunity, and meeting the crisis head on. And I was excited. I was like, wow, we really need that information. So maybe to start off, maybe you can share with us a little bit about, the blog and how to stay healthy.
Sure, it'd be my pleasure. And hopefully, I think you'll all be receiving this sometime in the very near future from corporate, but we can certainly, I want to go over this now because I think one of the most important things is how can we help maintain our immune function with natural products, and frankly, with the products from Jeunesse. So, legitimately, there's science behind what I'm going to say, and I truly believe that this is a major step in helping to keep everybody safe. So, with the COVID-19 pandemic, people are forced more than ever to really keep an eye on their immune systems, and they're focused more on it. It's common knowledge that to stay healthy, we need to keep our immune system strong. And that's great advice, but the path to a healthy immune system can be very complicated. And why is this? Most people ask. It's because there's still a lot we don't know about the ins and outs of our immune system. This means there's not just one thing we can do or one pill we can take to boost it, but there are a number of things. So we should focus on really only two factors we can control. And number one is the defense, and number two is offense. So these factors can help us fight viruses and bacteria better, whether with this epidemic or others, or just in general, when this thing passes, we want to keep a very strong immune system. So a strong defense, I think one of the things we could do is be aware of these three key areas for contamination from either coronavirus or future viruses or even bacteria. The best defense is avoiding or minimizing exposure to germs or viruses. And you likely already know about the importance of washing your hands, avoiding contact with those who are sick in crowded places. However, there are three little known risk factors everybody should be aware of. And the first one is the credit card PIN screens and pads. So we all go in and we put our little credit cards in, but we don't realize that that's one of the biggest areas of contamination. You don't know how many people touch that credit card checkout screen before you, and touching the screen with your fingers or even grabbing the pen stylus means contaminating your hands. So touching these pin pads is dirtier than touching the phones of several people. The solution, well, use the corner of your credit card to push the buttons and tap on the screen, or use your own pen stylus when checking out on a credit card kiosk. Or you can ask the checkout associate to process your purchase without you having to touch the screen, right? So that's important. So what's the second area that most people don't think about is public door handles. And these are touched daily and not cleaned often enough, so they get very dirty. And this means doors you're pushing in to get into the store, and all different types of doors, not just restroom doors. So that's a very key area to look at. You can use your foot by pushing your toe against the bottom of the door, or you can pull doors using your shirt to grab the part of the handle that others normally don't touch, like the very top or bottom of the handle. So these are the two key areas. The last one is, and I know in Asia they're very big on this, take your shoes off before you go into your house. Most people wear shoes inside their house, even though studies show that over 100,000 different types of bacteria and even viruses can be found on the bottom of your shoes. So this is especially risky if you have pets or kids that come in contact with the floor and then spread the contagions from the floor to other parts of your house, such as furniture, beds. Your pet jumps up on your bed or chair. Now you have things all over there. So don't wear your shoes in the house. Take them off by the door and ask your guests to do the same. And a simple policy like this could mean the difference between getting sick and staying healthy. Okay, a strong offense. So let's really talk about this. Jeunesse products help to maintain a healthy immune system. We're not saying that Jeunesse products cure coronavirus. It's about helping to maintain a healthy immune system. So now that you are doing everything to avoid coming into contact with contagions, the other part of the question is getting your immune system to be in top fighting mode. So here are several lifestyle recommendations to keep your immune system strong. In addition, we're going to talk about lesser known facts on how cellular health. Whoop! I got attacked by a giant wasp that just came into my house. We're going to talk about a number of areas. First, to boost your immune system, you have to eat a diet of healthy foods, including fruits and vegetables. Nutrient-dense, anthocyanidine-rich antioxidant foods provide you with nutrients your body needs to produce immune proteins, enzymes, and cells. Studies have shown that anthocyanins, in particular, are great for you. These are found in our top-selling products like AMPM, Essentials, and Reserve. So you don't have to look too far. We have those there. Prebiotics and probiotics are so essential to promote a healthy gut. And these are found in AMPM Essentials, as well as Zen Fuse protein shakes and Zen Prime. So there's another source of these. And why is that important? We're going to talk a lot about why your immune system, the vast part of your immune system comes from your small intestines. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So you take your vitamins to fill in the nutritional gaps not satisfied with food alone. AMPM Essentials is the best way to do this. I take an extra AM at midday to keep my vitamin mineral levels up, especially during times like we have these days. Micronutrients are at optimal levels. When they're at optimal levels, our cells are ideally healthy. Here are a few of the examples of the immune boosting vitamins and minerals found in AMPM, which are directly linked to keeping a strong immune system. Vitamin C is one of the biggest immune system boosters of all. A lack of vitamin C can even make you more prone to getting sick. Vitamin B6 is vital to supporting biochemical reactions in the immune system. Vitamin E is a powerful antioxidant. It helps the body against free radicals. And zinc is a very powerful mineral that plays a role in the immune system. Now, many of these antioxidants are also in reserve. So taking an extra packet of reserve midday is another way of boosting these. Exercise. Why is exercise important? Well, first of all, when you exercise 15 to 20 minutes a day, even a moderate level, you actually alter over 30 different genes that are optimal in helping you age more efficiently. But exercise helps really make a difference in two key hormones of aging, cortisol and DHEA. So when you exercise, your cortisol levels go down, your DHEA levels go up. Your blood flow improves, so your cells can remove their toxic compounds more efficiently, but also the nutrients you took in can get to your cells better. So exercise is really important. Maintaining a healthy weight. Okay, so I don't know how many people know this, but the more fat you have, the more inflammation you have in your body. Now, inflammation is one of those things that viruses love. So if you are in an inflammatory state, and by the way, most of us are, viruses will replicate much quicker. Okay, so if we keep a healthy body composition, more muscle mass, less body fat, we're helping to control our inflammatory levels. Zen Fuse, Zen Prime are excellent products for helping to maintain an ideal body composition in conjunction with AMPM. Alcohol, or if you drink alcohol, even in moderation, okay, that lowers your immune response. So if you're going to have a drink of wine, maybe you cut it back to 1 or 2 nights a week instead of every night. Now, probably the most important thing at all is sleep. You know, one of the interesting things is, and I'm going to show you this book. This book, it happens to be what the latest in why we sleep. Okay, it's the latest research by one of the doctors I know in Harvard. If you don't get 7 hours of sleep a night, your incidence of cardiovascular disease, stroke, cancer, and tumors, as well as immune depression, ready, is 6 times greater than the average population. Now, if you could take one drug or one pill that would limit your chances of avoiding those things by 6 times, it would be amazing. Well, guess what? You just have to sleep more. Now, one of the great things about PM is just about everybody gets dramatically better, longer, and deeper sleep. Stress. So we're all stressed these days, especially watching the TV and looking at what's going on and all the fear, when this is going to be over, what's going to happen. But what we really have to do is learn to not take every word we hear as truth. And we also need to spend a few days, maybe a few minutes a day, just deep breathing, closing our eyes and focusing inward. And I do that every morning, and I try to do it for about 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the afternoon. It's like rebooting my computer. So resetting your immune system with Zen Fuse, okay, this is so important, because if you don't get the right amount of protein daily, especially when your body is under attack by bacteria and viruses, your body can't make the antibodies. They're all basically made from protein. And your hormones are made from protein, but mainly your antibodies that are produced actually in the level of the small intestine. Without that ideal amount of protein, you don't make them. So let's talk a little bit more about a few other things. So getting adequate sleep is essential for ideal immune function, and lack of restorative sleep affects your hormonal balance, reducing your immune system. If you have issues sleeping, you may want to take, like I tell a lot of people, they can take additional PM tablets. You can take 2, 3, even 4, if that's what you as an individual require, especially during times of stress. The research states that if you're not getting at least 7 hours of sleep a night, you're increasing your odds of all age-related diseases and your immune function dramatically, like by 6 times more than the average population. In a recent survey, AMPM Essentials documented better sleep was the most common finding reported, and continued to improve up to 12 weeks with continued use. You know, our cells and their internal DNA are constantly under attack by internal and external sources, and the body can only repair DNA damage so fast. That happens at night when you're sleeping. If you're not sleeping, you're not repairing your DNA. So eventually, when cellular DNA damage outpaces the body's ability to repair, it leads to a poor immune function. Now, for those of us who are 55 and over, and I'm a little over that, I don't know where Samson is, but he looks a lot younger, so I'm sure he's not there yet. But as we age, our immune response is reduced, which contributes to high risk and frequency of infections and disease. So the reduction in the immune system is believed to be in part a result of cellular aging, which includes a decrease in our stem cell numbers. Now, why are stem cells important? This is where cells become less efficient in repairing themselves and in releasing stem cells that give rise to the immune system. I can tell you this, that there's three major types of stem cells, and the major type we're talking about is hematopoietic stem cells that are the precursors to the immune system, the cellular immune system. So this is so important to make sure you maintain or actually increase your number of stem cells. And guess what? We have Vita Blue, which has been documented in clinical studies to be able to do that. Let's take a look at inflammation of the immune system. And we're going to get through this pretty quickly, but this is so important. You know, as we age, we produce more inflammatory substances due to the changes in our genetic software, the genes that are programmed to change in their activity as we get older. And this causes a weakening of the immune system as we get more inflammatory in general. Viruses love elevated inflammation levels and reproduce quicker in an inflammatory environment. So anti-inflammatory foods like salmon, cold water fish are excellent sources of key fatty acids, like even vegan sources like omega-3 fatty acids, 3, 6, and 9 fatty acids. This includes nuts, chia, flax seeds, extra virgin olive oil, algae, and even phytoplankton. Vegetables like beets, cauliflower, carrots, kale, spinach are all packed with anti-inflammatory properties. So food is another major source of keeping our immune system stronger. So by incorporating these immune boosting tips and some of the Jeunesse products and sharing them with your loved ones, we can help maintain a healthy immune system. So you just spend a few extra minutes planning your meals and cooking for immune support. So what are the key products, if I have to summarize these again, that Jeunesse has that really helps with all of these factors? AMPM Essentials, to start with, is a compound that has been shown to reduce inflammation. It supplies prebiotics, probiotics for our small intestine. It helps build antibodies. AMPM has been shown to help decrease DNA damage, another key component to a healthy immune system. Zenfuse and Zen Prime. Well, Zenfuse provides the proteins we need to make our antibodies. Zen Prime has prebiotics and probiotics that feed the natural bacteria in our intestines so we can get more nutritional value from the food we eat. Now, Reserve is another, like maybe a midday snack to help increase our antioxidants, which, by the way, when viruses replicate, they create more free radicals. So the more antioxidants we have, the more we can neutralize those free radicals. And finally, our new addition, Vita Blue, is a safe and amazing way to actually increase some of the important numbers of our stem cells. But my suggestion is, if you don't have at least those three key ones, AMPM Essentials, Zenfuse and Prime, and Vita Blue, I would definitely get those and start using those on a regular basis, especially during times of immune stress. So I didn't mean to take too much time, but I think it's so important that you knew these things. And I'm going to hand it back over to Samson, and maybe we can get going with the next part of this.
Well, thank you, Dr. G. Now, I hope those of you out there, you were taking notes, right? So just maybe I can just say from my perspective as a lay person, Dr. G. Yep. So let's say, for example, right now, obviously, we're going through the crisis. Most of the people around the world, majority of the people around the world, they're isolated, right? We're in social distancing, right? So now, what you're saying, I can see it really applying as, we got to get our immune system up now if we don't have it. And also because after, sooner or later, the economy is going to open up, right? I mean, they're doing that in China already, right? For example. And people are still roaming about still in Taiwan. I think they're going through more normal life than we're in other parts of the world, like the US. So definitely about the credit card machines, the door handle, and taking off the shoes is so important. And you're saying that, and of course I cannot repeat everything, but for me, I take all the products, the Reserve, the AMPM, the Zenfuse, the Zen Prime, and Vita Blue. Sometimes I mix a lot of those AMPM. Of course, I take not liquid, but the tablet. I'm in North America, and maybe other people have the powder, but I put a lot of the stuff in the Zenfuse all together.
That's a good way of doing it. I mean, one of the reasons we brought out the powder was it's so much easier to blend Zenfuse, the AMPM powder, even Nara all together, and you have a drink you can take twice a day. But there's other reasons. I'm going to get into the PowerPoint about that as well. But let me make a comment. Yeah. This whole pandemic isn't over in another month or two, and what's going to happen is, we're going to be in need of maintaining a very strong immune system, as well as certain aspects of social distancing, probably for the next 6 to 8 months, maybe 10 months. So this isn't something that is going to go away in a month or so. And we all hope the quicker it goes away, the better. But the point of the matter is that we really need to focus on keeping a strong immune system, even when we go back to work.
That's right. That's why we're here tonight, right?
Yeah.
Because we are here to empower each and every one of you out there to be healthier. So we don't have to be in fear. We have the ability to control our health. So maybe we can go into then the presentation, because I think it's important that, we were talking earlier, of course, and you mentioned about the AMPM. And for me, I honor you a lot, because I understand clearly that AMPM is your life's work, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
It's what you study. It's what you research, and you put it all in one set of amazing product. And I know for a fact that when people start using it, they stay on it. they do more. So and it's amazing product for auto ship. So anyway, and as we were talking earlier this afternoon before the webcast, about going through your PowerPoint, I just want to share with everybody is that this is a great time to get your pen and paper out, to learn about health, to learn about how your body works. And of course, Dr. Giampapa, he cannot teach you his 40 plus years of experience.
Yeah, right.
Okay, he won't be able to do that in half an hour, but what you can do is just jot down the basic concept, okay? And we're gonna start. We're gonna talk about the AMPM, because through his formulation, the way he put it together, there's not only science, there's a logic to it. So, and for me as a distributor, I cannot explain everything, but I understand if when you give us the key points of why and where it is, and then how it works, we understand clearly. So now to start off, what I'm going to do is Dr. Giampapa had worked very hard with a corporate to put a video about AMPM, and it gives a good overview. And this video is available on the website, and also in your back office, or also on sharejeunesse.com. You can download it yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this video, okay? 1 second, please. All right, here we go. Ooh. 1 second. Hold on.
Ooh.
Let me try it again. All right, here we go.
Ooh.
Here we are.
Processing thousands of pieces of gene-composed DNA every minute. Our bodies are essentially biological computers running on DNA software, with enough DNA in each cell to stretch from the Earth to the Sun 100 times. Just as a computer or its software can be damaged, the function of our stem cells and body cells declines as we age. Each decade, the activity of our genes changes. The genes begin to function poorly until they eventually stop dividing. The net result is declining health and rapid aging. With AM and PM essentials from Jeunesse, you can support your body's well-being. Formulated by a Nobel Prize nominee, AM and PM Essentials combines plant extracts, herbs, probiotics, amino acids, vitamins, and minerals to support your body's daytime and nighttime needs. The result? Improved quality of life from the inside out. AM and PM Essentials packets are easy to take with you wherever you go. Mix a packet in water. It's a great way to take care of your human machine and the software it runs on. You only have one body. Give it the best you can with AM and PM Essentials, featuring formulas that work at the source of your cell's genetic software, taking an evolutionary step beyond vitamins and minerals. As part of your daily lifestyle, they can also help you wake up with more energy and experience more restful sleep.
Nice, very nice. And again, this video, the best place is go to sharejeunesse.com, log in, go to brand, and then go look for AMPM in that drop-down menu. Now, one thing about this video is very concise and great information. And I want to just bring it back to the point so that we can start with Dr. Giampapa's presentation, is that, for me, as a leader out there in Jeunesse, one idea of AMPM is to help us create optimal health 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, that's what I see the AMPM doing from my understanding. And well, we're gonna go ahead and start the PowerPoint for Dr. Giampapa so he can share with you more knowledge. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's good stuff. All right. Here we go.
So I just wanted to start with a comment that, let me see if we can do this, right? Okay. So I want to start a comment. People ask me, why did I create AMPM? And Samson, you can hear me, correct? You can hear me?
Yes,
okay.
Very good.
So I wanted to come up with one product that was really impactful in both body cells and stem cells together. Vitamins and minerals, taking vitamins and minerals alone has been shown not to really add to longevity, okay, but it does help on your daily function, but it doesn't really make a big difference for longevity or living a longer functional life. So the goal here was to come up with one product, and that really could make the difference. And this started almost 9 years ago. Actually started 10 years ago. And so the technology behind AMPM is all focused on the fact that certain compounds that we eat, plants, fruits, nuts, actually have the ability to turn certain genes on and other genes off. And no other product that has been being sold by any other company is really talking about this or has the science behind this. Now, the youth enhancement system, our YES system, is based on 3 premises. Number one, that the products are experiential. That is, you'll either see or feel the difference when you take these products either immediately or within days or on a long-term basis. So experiential component of the YES system is so important. The second thing is our products are designed to work from the inside out, the inside level of the cell, to the outer level of the body, the skin, and from the skin to the inner aspect of the body. And that's our Luminesce system, and the other products all fit somewhere within this category. So the YES system is, again, unique to Jeunesse. And I think the third thing is probably the most unique thing. We've looked at the design of these products and filling in the niches for anti-aging so that the products that we come out with are synergistic. What does that mean? That means that when you use more than one of the products together, the net effect is even greater than the products alone. Okay, so AMPM Essentials basically is positioned as the foundation product in the YES system. It's at the bottom of the pyramid. Now, that doesn't mean it's that. What that really means is after you've taken AMPM for a week, 2 or 3, the cells that have been lacking in certain nutritional content now have the key things they need for them to function more optimally, so that the other AMPM products, YES products, actually can function more optimally because the cells are more receptive to these products once they've been on AMPM for a few weeks. So, when we look at the body is an amazing machine. And we are now really looking at the body in a whole different perspective. And I'm going to share Bill Gates's recent thoughts on this, as well as many other scientists, in that basically they're looking at our bodies as biological machines running on DNA-based genetic software. And the analogies to how DNA works and how computers work are so similar. It's becoming more and more of a realistic concept on how to treat diseases and how our bodies respond to the environment. But basically, our bodies are made up of two types of cells, our body or somatic cells and our adult stem cells. Now, there's 100 trillion cells in each one of our bodies. Okay, so as we age or if we're injured, our body cells get damaged. They send out a signal, both a chemical signal and, believe it or not, an electromagnetic signal that stimulates the stem cells that are local, but also the stem cells in our body, in our bone marrow, to come to the area of damage and then to move there and to help repair and replace those damaged cells. And one of the key aspects we don't talk about a lot, and most people don't even know, is you're born with a fixed number of stem cells. So if you are sick a long time or frequently sick, you're using up your stem cells more frequently. If you're a bodybuilder or an athlete who is constantly putting their cells under stress to renew and repair or build muscle, you use up your stem cells quicker too. So why are they important? Well, we're going to talk about the three types of stem cells in a moment, but your stem cells can turn into over 220 different cells in your body. They're the reservoir, the regenerative reservoir that helps your body function from day to day. Okay, and keeping those cells in optimal functional state are essential to living a healthy and youthful functional life. So AMPM, when I designed this, was focused on restoring the function of both body cells and stem cells. This is a unique concept that, again, you won't see in virtually any other product that I know of anywhere in the marketplace.
Hi, Dr. G. Are you okay with the slides?
Yeah. Can you see everything well?
Yes. Are you moving the slides along yourself?
Yes, I am. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Good.
Great. Thank you.
Yep. We got it all together, Samson. You were great. So let me just give you a quick tutorial here. You know, when we're young, very young, like 5, 7, 8 years old, we start to use our stem cells actually from birth. That helps our bodies develop into adolescents and then into mature adults. This is called positive or developmental aging. We want to get to that point of a mature adult where our immune systems are optimal, our body's functioning optimal. We have very little, if any, inflammation, and our DNA repair is optimal. Now, once we hit our mid-40s, what happens is we've used up a good portion of our stem cells, but we start to accumulate these cells, damaged cells in our body called senescent cells. And the more senescent cells we have, the quicker we age. They even age our healthy stem cells. So what happens is as our numbers of stem cells decline and these bad damaged cells increase, we age very rapidly and we lose function. So when we talk about stem cells, and which the majority come from our bone marrow, we have three types of stem cells. Hematopoietic stem cells form our immune function. Endothelial stem cells grow new blood vessels and maintain our blood vessels. And mesenchymal stem cells, all three of these stem cell types, mesenchymal stem cells can morph into muscle, bone, cartilage, brain tissue even. So during our life, we're constantly releasing all three stem cell types as we get injured. So getting back to the recent comment made by Bill Gates, but also by many of the scientific community these days, is we've redefined DNA. Well, DNA is like a computer program, but far, far more advanced than any other software we've ever created. Now, that's a quote from Bill Gates, who kind of knows his business. So, regular computers run on zeros and ones, okay? And so this is a digital computer, and this is what most of us use. Today, believe it or not, we have computers that run on DNA. So a DNA computer runs on four different pieces of information, not just zeros and ones, but uses the 4 base pairs that make up DNA. So you might say, well, what difference does that make? Let me give you an example. When we put a question to a computer and say, gee, can you solve this question? The computer will rapidly come up with a solution. Now, if we put that same problem in a DNA computer, the DNA computer will come up with multiple solutions, different ones. So it can process not just a problem, but actually come up with different variations of the solution. And let me explain the analogy here. every one of the 100 trillion cells in our bodies have to deal with hundreds of thousands of quotes problems or input or signals they receive from the surrounding tissues in your body. That's hundreds of thousands a second. And they have to then respond. The cell has to respond in an optimal way to those signals. So you're starting to understand the analogy of why DNA is a much more efficient, computerized problem solver than the standard 0 and 1 computers we're using even to show this presentation. So just like a computer program software gets a virus and crashes after a number of these viral attacks, so does our DNA software begin to malfunction with age. And what happens is the more DNA damage we get exposed to, the quicker our genetic software starts to work suboptimally. So let's talk about this. We have two main programs basically programmed into each cell. The first one is a program to help the cell work as efficiently as possible. There's certain genes that actually will help that cell maintain optimal function and a longer cellular life. And that's for both stem cells and body cells. The second program is a day and night cycle in each cell. And there's a whole different genetic program to help balance the cell. And at night, the cell is basically programmed for repair, detoxification. And in the daytime, a program is really programmed to make more energy in the form of ATP, to balance its hormones, and to help with mental focus and mental speed. Okay. So AMPM is, you might want to look at it as an upgrade to your personal genetic software. And one of the most important things I tell all the distributors, we need to not present AMPM as a vitamin mineral supplement, but something that goes way beyond this, way, way beyond. And we're going to talk about more and more of the characteristics of why AMPM, whether it's a tablet or a powder, really, really is beyond what is out there in the market. So we talked earlier about there's like 90 plus ingredients in AMPM, and the technology to get these ingredients into tablets or the powder was a real challenge as well. But on the other hand, we as human beings evolved over hundreds of thousands of years by eating plants, extracts, different types of, if you will, enzymes and compounds and digestive enzymes that come naturally from plants, algae. And that's what helped form our genetic software. But most of these plants aren't available all year long from different sources of the world, and they're not available in their most concentrated format. So that's what we looked at. We looked at what were these plants that literally were known scientifically to make a difference in key genes that were positive, and what plants could actually turn down the key genes that are negative. And that's how we created AMPM. So most people will say to me, okay, I never taken this before, I'll try it. And what's the first thing that they experience? And what are the key things they experience that improves the quality of life that they didn't have before? Let's take a look at that. So the study we originally did was with 300 people, and we looked at people taking AMPM for 8 weeks and up to 12 weeks. And in the first 4 weeks, we see a dramatic improvement in sleep, 68%. But at 12 weeks, we found that 88% of people sleep dramatically longer and deeper. Now, this is one of the most important things for a strong immune system. The second area of improvement was energy. And again, because we were looking at what's the body's genetic software originally programmed to do. And also, we looked at focus, mental focus. So 65% of people at 12 weeks had an improvement in that. And frankly, if we could create a pill, a medicinal pill that gave you more energy, help you sleep dramatically longer, and improve your mental focus, as well as the level of stress, we would have one of the most successful pharmaceutical companies on the planet. We're a natural compound. So if you recall now, I was talking about our cells as genetic software, the DNA. So the second core program, that genetic program built into our cells, is this AMPM cycle or sleep-wake cycle, and it's referred to as chronobiology in the science, that is time biology. So there's two different formulas to restore the body's biological software, the second software, for improved health. Now, sleep is becoming more and more important, as I said, as just a general anti-aging tonic, if you will. And it's the genetic software there is really programmed for repair. And most of our DNA repair occurs at night when we are in deep REM sleep and when we're in deep sleep itself. It's also during the time where the cell is able to remove the toxic compounds that's built up during the day, okay, and then removed at night. And also REM sleep. Now, most people don't understand the importance of REM sleep. So when we fall asleep and we have REM sleep, which is when we're dreaming, that's when the information we've learned during the day gets stored from temporary to permanent mental storage in our brain. So without REM sleep, your memory is poor. And these are all new things that are really starting to come to the surface about how important sleep really is. Lastly, at night, our hormonal balance changes. And for instance, when we go into deeper sleep, and we have compounds in the PM formula that help release growth hormone, and certain amino acids and other of the natural compounds will actually help release growth hormone. That puts us into deep sleep and REM sleep, so our body functions more optimally. But it also helps keep our body lean. Growth hormone levels will help decrease fat and actually help with lean muscle mass. So let's go talk about energy and focus. In the morning, there's different compounds, again, in AM, that will do the following: help the body make more ATP, which is our body's energy store. And that happens inside the cell, that at the level of what we call the mitochondria, our energy factories. And the ATP, without sufficient ATP, the nuclear genetic machinery or genetic software can't work. It needs energy to work optimally. So also that gives us the energy throughout the day to move quickly, run, focus, and keep our memory and our mental focus really, really tight throughout the day. And in the morning, there's another hormonal change, and that is we start to produce more DHEA. Now, why is DHEA important? Again, for the immune system, DHEA is one of the key hormones that help boost immune function. DHEA decreases body inflammation. And DHEA has multiple other impacts on the body. For instance, DHEA at higher levels in both men and females converted into pregnenolone, which is essential to keep our brain healthy. It's converted into women. From women, it's converted into testosterone, which helps keep their muscle mass up. So there's multiple reasons that we've built into AMPM on multiple levels. And I'm just trying to share the top of the iceberg, why the ingredients are different in each formula. So one of the key things we look at in general is, and this goes back to the computer analogy, if we have a virus in our computer software program, eventually that program is going to crash. If it doesn't crash, it starts to function less optimally. So I want you to think of the computer viruses as damage to your DNA inside each one of your cells. And the more damage you acquire, and that could be from smoking, from poor exercise, from lack of exercise, or poor diet, or living in an environment that's full of pollutants, all of these things basically are like adding a virus to your computer, your iPad, or your desktop, or whatever. So we want to do our best to help DNA repair itself, especially after we're in our late 30s, early 40s. And both the combination of AMPM, reserve, are big adjuncts with the antioxidant supplies to help buffer the free radicals we produce, which is the major cause of DNA damage. So AMPM really regulates our primary genetic functional software as well as our secondary genetic software program, the sleep-wake cycle. It helps with detoxification of our cells in our organs. And in the morning, allows us to wake up with more energy. And at night, we slept longer, so our memories can be consolidated and our basic cellular repair mechanisms are improved. So let's talk about one other thing, that when we looked at cellular aging, inside each one of our cells are different kind of little factories, different what we call organs, just like our bodies has organs. And so there's a whole system, if you will, for DNA repair. that's inside the nucleus. There's another system for stem cell maintenance, another compartment in the cell that's focused on maintaining stem cells within the stem cells. There's another compartment in the cell that makes compounds to maintain our telomeres, which are the things that allow our cells to make more copies of themselves. And then there's another whole intrinsic antioxidant system inside our mitochondria. Our bodies make their own antioxidants. That's glutathione, catalase, superoxide dismutase are very strong antioxidants that are hard to get from food. So our bodies, each one of our cells make those up until we're maybe 25, 30, and then the production of those drop off. And there's a whole bunch of genetic programs or actual organs inside the cell that we've included ingredients in AMPM that actually support each one of these organs or organelles inside the cell. So now you're looking at some of the science that went into the creation of AMPM, not just things to help these two primary genetic software programs, but actually help support the organs inside each cell so they function better. So if you take a look at, if you want to look at the tablets or AMPM powder, you can kind of think of them as a nutritional software update program for each one of the 100 trillion cells in your body. Today we look at most of what are other companies doing. They're giving you little packages with half a dozen tablets, and they're saying, well, here's your tablets you take in the morning, here's your tablets you might want to take lunchtime and then evening. So what have we done at Jeunesse? If you look here on the plate, if we had to take just the AM tablets and buy these separately and put them in each one in a separate capsule, can you imagine trying to swallow this in the morning and this at night? Well, you know, it's virtually impossible. So the technology to incorporate this many key ingredients into 2 tablets in the morning and 2 in the evening, that took a number of years to develop. Okay. So let me make another essential piece of information. You know, today, the secret is not just taking great science-backed products like Jeunesse, but the environment we live in, okay? And that environment I'm talking about, when I say environment, I mean, what's your lifestyle habits? Do you exercise at least 20 minutes 5 times a week? Do you get enough sleep? Do you eat the right types and quantities of food? Do you sleep enough? And do you live in an environment where there's a lot of stress? Because all of these environmental factors impact the genes that you've inherited. And frankly, out of the 30,000 genes that each one of our cells have, each one of those genes are impacted by your environment. So it's a combination of your environment and the genes you've inherited that create your health now at the moment, but also will be responsible for your health in the future, which is why we've created the products at the Yes System. You know, just about everybody who is not on a nutritional supplement program is lacking in a number of areas of key compounds that cell needs for not only just functioning at its optimal, but keeping your genetic software working ideally so you live a more functional, more youthfully functional life, and you get more quality time out of every day that you have. So if you're going to ask, we're going to answer a question at the end of this. Well, if our DNA is really genetic software, who's the programmer? Well, we're going to come to that in a minute. Okay, so let's take a little summary. Factors that can help maintain your ideal immune function. Okay, my computer is about to run out of power, so I'm going to put a little juice back into it while we finish. So if you don't get sleep, a minimum of 7 hours a day, we talked about the negative ramifications of what happens with not only aging poorly, but multiple diseases and a poor immune system. And frankly, this 7-hour daily sleep has a lot to do with cognitive impairment or Alzheimer's disease and loss of memory function as you get older. Pre and probiotics, okay? Well, we mentioned that these are in not only AMPM, but in Zen Prime. Now, by keeping those friendly bacteria in the food that they eat at an ideal level in your small intestines, your body can make more efficient immunoglobulins. It can decrease inflammation. And furthermore, it can help give you more efficient nutrition from the food you eat. So there we have Zen, we have AMPM, which has probiotics in it. Zen has prebiotics and probiotics, and the sleep induction is probably one of the most important things we've created with AMPM. Vitamins and minerals that are essential for immune function. Vitamin C, we all know about. Vitamin B6, vitamin E, vitamin D3 are the key things. Now, these are in not only AMPM, but in reserve. So a midday snack with reserve, again, helps with supporting, limiting damage due to free radicals, but also supporting your immune function. Decreased general body inflammation. Well, this is something that, without a question, is one of the more important things. Now, AMPM in independent studies has been shown to decrease inflammation. Things that decrease inflammation also can be found in Zen Fuse with the right types of proteins, and again, the prebiotics and probiotics. Now, let's talk about something new and really focus on one of the newer additions to the Yes system, and that is VitaBlue. You know, I mentioned earlier that we're all born with a fixed number of stem cells. And frankly, women usually have slightly more than men do. And the old joke about why do men die before women? It's not because they want to, it's because they don't have the same number of stem cells that women do. So I wanted to correct that old adage. But stem cell function and number are very important. AMPM works on the stem cell function, helping it keep more its genetic software more optimal as far as how the cells are being genetically, how they function genetically, but the number of stem cells decline. VitaBlue has been shown to be an amazing product that can really help increase the number of all three stem cell types, and particularly hematopoietic stem cells, which are the cause of our cellular, or the root of our cellular immunity. Our NK cells, our natural killer cells, our white blood cells are direct derivatives of that category of stem cells. Optimal body composition and exercise. Well, Zen Fuse has a mixture of both casein proteins and whey proteins, short-acting proteins that boost our protein level, and then another group of the proteins that last over a number of hours. Why is this important? Because first of all, we need protein to build muscle mass, and the more muscle mass and less body fat we have, the less inflammation we have. But also, that helps with burning calories more efficiently when we have more muscle mass. And it also helps with a number of other, for instance, with exercise, a combination of proteins, the right exercise, and an improved body composition. What we have here is we can alter up to 30 different genes that we know are positively impacted by both exercise and the right amounts of protein. Protein inside the small intestine, if we don't get protein, the adequate amounts of protein, and that should be at least, we're looking at, 0.5 grams, a half a gram to 0.7 grams per pound. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you should be getting 50 grams of protein. If you weigh 200 pounds, you should be getting over 100 grams of protein for ideal muscle building, body composition, and immune function. So what am I trying to show you? I'm trying to show you that what we've come up with Jeunesse is a series of 3 or 4 key products we're going to go into in depth to show you how to utilize those products, not only to age optimally, but to keep that immune system optimal. So before we do that, I started this whole thing, and we're almost done here. I started this whole lecture, or if you will, webinar, on the fact that we were really looking at creating a product that could help keep stem cells, help them function longer and more efficiently, and at the same time, help our body cells work longer and more efficiently. So a little over a year ago, we did a study on AMPM and its impact on the 2 key groups of genes that are involved in both of those categories. So the groups of genes that are involved in stem cell function are called the NANOG and ECAT genes, okay? And the group of genes that are involved in longevity in mammals and humans are the SIRT1 genes, or the ones that are referred to as calorie restriction genes. So AMPM Essentials has had an amazing result. And let's take a look at what that study showed. And the animal study we did is the standard animal study that's used to test pharmaceuticals for safety and efficacy. And so this initial study showed the following. And if you look at these little black squares in these bars, you'll notice the further you go to the right, the more prominent they get. That means the activity of those genes got more and more active as each one of those weeks went on. So PM Essentials had a big impact on stimulating the function of stem cells, both stem cell release and renewal, and the ability of these stem cells to turn into up to 220 different types of cells. Now, I was completely amazed when I saw this, although I suspected it would, but not quite this impactful. Now, AM, the group that was fed just the AM tablets were shown to do the following. The genes that were called the calorie restriction or longevity genes, the SIRT1 genes, also dramatically improved on the group of mice that were just taking the AM genes. And when we looked at another group of mice that took both AM and PM, we saw the exact same impact. In fact, the results were even slightly more active when we took both compounds. So why is this important? This is so important because this is the first time I've ever seen a nutraceutical combination or product that literally begins to work inside each one of the 100 trillion cells in your bodies, both stem cells and body cells, to mimic the conditions inside those cells that we know help with increasing youthful function, longevity, as well as those genes have been documented to help with improving both number and function of stem cells. So I think we really have the first real piece of evidence that products that we're designing at Jeunesse really are a step above just about anybody else in the marketplace. And I wouldn't in any way be involved with something that didn't have the scientific support behind these products. So AMPM Essentials, we place at the foundation of the YES system because by making our stem cells work more efficiently, our body cells work more efficiently, the other ingredients in the other products of the YES system have the potential to work even more effectively as well. And that's where the synergistic components have come into play. So let's talk about synergy. We all know that Mark McDonald has worked very hard on creating these new versions of Zen. And what we've seen, and I've been working closely with Mark for over the last 2 years now, when people take Zen Fuse and Prime and AMPM, their body composition improves quicker, they lose more body fat, they feel better, they sleep better. And in general, the synergy of 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 4 or 5. So this has become a major new approach to combining products for body composition. And again, we talked about how less fat and more muscle actually helps with immune function as well and inflammation as well. Now, when we come to the immune function, we have looked at the science behind what are these factors. We went over those briefly: inflammation, decrease in stem cell numbers, lack of efficient proteins, and not enough pre and probiotics inside our bodies naturally. And these aren't things we can get from natural food usually. So the combination of AMPM to help with decreasing inflammation, helping limit damage to our DNA, the addition of the fact that it has pre and prebiotics in it and probiotics in it are very, very directly related to immune function. Now, Vita Blue, our new addition, is something that really makes a difference in increasing the number of the essential hematopoietic stem cells as well as the other stem cells, but mainly the hematopoietic stem cells that make up the cells, our cellular immune function, to really help restore and enhance that. And then when we get to Zen Prime and Fuse, well, Zen Fuse is the source of, again, the key proteins we need to make our immunoglobulins. And also both Zen Prime has the additional pre and probiotics, again, we need for intestinal health. So what we have here in the combination of these three products are truly a focus on enhanced immune function as well as cellular aging. Well, guys, let me make a couple more comments because these are frequently asked questions I get. When can somebody start? At what age can they start AMPM? Excuse me. So AMPM, we tell people, look, ideally you want to start at 18 years of age because up until that age, the body really can get ideal nutrients, antioxidants, and stem cell numbers are optimal, but starting around 18 years of age is our recommended. Now, most people take 2 a.m.s and 2 p.m.s. If you're 90 pounds or 100 or right below 100 pounds, you probably could do well with 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. If you're a strong German or Scandinavian or a big guy in the United States, you might need 3 a.m.s and 3 p.m.s. And frankly, I've had so many people tell me they have their own little personal regimen on how they take AMPM. And let me give you my example. I take 2 a.m.s in the morning, I take 1 at lunch, and then I take 2 or 3 in the evening, depending upon, what my state of alertness is. Now, many people I've told, look, everybody is genetically different to a certain degree. We're 99% identical, but that 0.1% that makes human beings who they are, 6 feet tall or 5 feet tall, can make a difference in what your body's needs are. So I tell people, look, experiment and try, because if you're getting better sleep, but maybe you need more or deeper sleep, add an extra PM. See how that works. And this is something you can experiment with. So when we look at throughout the day, let's take a look at a schedule. So I have my AMs in the morning. I drink my Zen protein, my Zen Fuse, and I take my Zen Prime. About mid-morning, I will have maybe a packet of Reserve. And midday, again, I take my AMs to seem to boost my energy and mental focus a little bit more throughout the day. Mid-afternoon, I'm going to have a protein shake to keep my protein levels up again. And then at night, I'm going to have my Vita Blue. I'm going to have my PMs, and I'm probably going to take my Affinity. And I cycle my Affinity. Maybe I'll take a month or 2 and then stop for 2 months and take another month or 2 and stop for 2 months. So this is all independent on what's the best for you, but that's my recommendations are that, you take AMPM, Zen Fuse, Vita Blue as your immune support, add Reserve for your little gaps in between and maybe a snack with more protein and less carbs, but experiment with yourself what makes your genetics work optimally. So AMPM, again, I'll leave this message with you. It's so much more than a vitamin mineral supplement. So when you speak to new people or even some of your downline, they have to understand this is not just a vitamin mineral supplement. This is a whole new evolution in cellular nutrition. And you got to start thinking of your cells as biological machines running on DNA software. And with this different state of mind, you'll take better care of yourself. Before we move on to how important stem cells, let me ask you, I asked you a question. If DNA is really our genetic software, who's the programmer? So I'll give you the answer. You are. Okay, you're the programmer of your own genetic software. And based on your lifestyle, the products you take, the information you have, the stress you have, where you live, all of those things fit into how that genetic software is going to function, either optimally or suboptimally. And our job at Jeunesse is to supply the highest quality science and programs behind this, but also to start educating you on how important lifestyle is. So how important are stem cells? Well, remember I told you as we age every year, in fact, we lose both number and function of those stem cells. So you might say, well, okay, I'm going to take everything, but since I'm losing them, what's the use? Well, let me tell you this. There's now new technology, and we do this at all my clinics. You sit down for about 2 hours. We extract a couple 100 million of your own stem cells and put them into storage. So instead of every year you losing numbers, you can go back and actually increase the numbers of your stem cells. And we have a special process that when we take these stem cells from your blood, we only are able to take the healthiest of those stem cells. We don't take any of the damaged ones. Now, my son had his stem cells taken when he was in his mid-20s. Now, why did I do that? Is because for the rest of his life, he will have hundreds of millions of cells to use. Now, although he doesn't need them now, but when he's in his mid-40s, he'll start getting his stem cells back to help maintain his future health and longevity. One more thing. This is not science fiction. This is a fact. Right now, at multiple universities, what we're doing is we're able to take stem cells from an animal, okay, and create new bladders, new lungs, new hearts, new ears. And it's truly amazing. And what this whole process of organ regeneration is based on the use of an individual's own stem cells. So I propose to you that within the next max 7 to 10 years, organ transplants will be a thing of the past. If you've had your stem cells collected or at least kept them in ideal condition, you will be able to, should you, God forbid, need these things. This is where the new science of stem cells and health and longevity is going, not having to take an organ from someone else and immunosuppressive drugs, but recreating, growing your own. And even if we get the information that these organs are starting to be damaged, we can infuse your stem cells to help repair them before they get to the point they're not functioning. So the power of AMPM. I present to you, it's the first nutraceutical product with scientific proof behind the product that it really does impact our genetic software in the key areas and key genes that are responsible for longevity and stem cell function. Okay, I don't know if you can play this video, and if you can, great. Can you play that video? I want to give you an idea. I'm 69 years old. I'm going to be, next year's a big birthday, 70, and this is me in my recent training. Now, Samson, I don't know if you can play this.
Okay, here we go. Hold on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not showing. You're showing.
So did you see that? That was pretty amazing.
Well, that's 2 days a week. I still practice my martial arts. I'm a 5th degree black belt in 2 martial arts. This was me 3 years ago. I'm in better shape now than I was 3 years ago. But listen, it's about being an example, not just talking about things, but living a lifestyle. And if I can do this, anyone can do this. So the bottom line is, yeah, you're the programmer of your own genetic software. And frankly, the best way to predict your future health is to create it. And that's what we're here for, Jeunesse. We're here to give you the latest products in science, to give you all the tips on living a healthy lifestyle, and to be the examples for you so you can really focus and really make the efforts to not just be healthy at the moment, but be more healthy as the years go by.
Wow, that's some powerful information, Dr. Giampapa. Amazing. You know, like it really, for me, you know, I heard a lot of things before, but a lot of things I also heard for the first time. So it is very exciting. You know, I never realized AMPM is such an important foundation. Now, if you don't mind, you know, because we went a little bit over, but
Yeah.
maybe, you know, we had a few questions, and maybe just so that, you know, because a lot of our members are always curious.
Sure.
Because they're using it or they're sharing it, so they want to feel good about what they're sharing. So there is some question. You know, obviously, everybody's body is different. Everybody's health is different. Maybe some people have some pre-existing conditions, right? So what would your advice be if somebody was on blood thinner, or maybe they have asthma? Can they take AMPM, or is there a standard thing that you would say to them?
So let me just make a comment and I'll answer that. I'm now putting together a multi-page brochure on AMPM, which is going to touch base on everything you saw here in written format, particularly the frequently asked questions. And one of those is, if you're on a prescription medication, high blood pressure, asthma, cholesterol, diabetes, you should always ask your physician what his input is about, and show him the ingredients in AMPM. And frankly, the vast majority of kind of feedback we get from physicians is, oh my God, we never knew anything had was this functional and this in depth as far as ingredients go. And most of them will say, sure, but you really need to check with your physician. And you know, one of the most common things I get is, you know, what happens if somebody's had cancer? Can they take this? And so I will tell you this. I will tell you that normally we don't recommend that any of our products cure or treat cancer. And you really shouldn't make a decision to take anything till you check with your physician as well.
Oh, that's excellent advice. I mean, that's what I would figure, right? Because
Right, right.
obviously everybody is different. Even now with the virus, they talk about different treatment for different people because everybody is different also.
Well, what they're finding out is there's different variations of the virus. For instance, in Europe, there's a slightly different mutated version than there is in the US. And this may account for why there's more deaths or severe symptoms because that virus does mutate. And well, the good news is when viruses mutate, they usually don't mutate and get stronger, they get a little bit weaker. So even though we're having a real pandemic, as time goes by, most likely things will get less less complicated, or there'll be less symptoms or less dramatic symptoms, and we keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's good information.
Yeah.
So for us to stay, obviously, you talk about a whole regimen we need to be on, especially sleep, the products. Obviously, everybody's a little bit different, so we can play with it how we are.
Yeah,
And if anybody has a pre-existing condition, they should definitely consult their doctor. Now,
absolutely, absolutely.
now on another note,
Yeah.
because a lot of times when we have the doctors on, uh, you're one of the calmest ones. So I did catch that every day in the morning and afternoon you do 20 minutes. What did you say that was? What do you do those 20
Well,
minutes?
yeah. Now, part of and I needed to let you know this, and our viewers also. We're going to be doing a 4-part webinar on AMPM and lifestyle intervention. So there'll be 4 webinars about an hour each, covering in even more detail the things I just talked about. And one of those things is the importance of slowing your mind down. Now, you know what? We live in the 21st century, and there's a thing called time urgency. Now, what's time urgency is we're overloaded with new information, our computers, our phones, so what happens is our brains are in a state of, gee, something you just saw, and then you're concerned about what you have to do in the future. So you jump from the past to the future, from the past to the future, information you've just gotten, what you have to do with it. And what happens is you lose the now. And when you learn to stop jumping from the past to the future and slow down, the only way you can do that is turn off your brain. And if you just start with just deep breathing, 15 or 20 breaths, and focus on hearing, listening, you literally can stop that time urgency. Now, why is that important? Because when you're jumping from the past to the future, you elevate cortisol. And cortisol is the age accelerating hormone. So we're going to talk about very easy things to do. Just like you have to turn off your computer to let it rest, or eventually you have to turn your brain off, even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes once or twice a day. It makes a big difference.
Great. Okay, wow, that's good information. That's what I believe too. Now we have a couple more minutes, and
Yeah.
I just want to help some of these people because a few
Sure.
of the people asked similar questions. So
Yeah.
obviously, AM is for during the day, and PM is for during the night.
Right.
Now, somebody asked, for example, sometimes when people first get on AM/PM,
Right.
okay, maybe I don't know, for whatever reason they seem to be more sleepy. What would what would your advice be for them? Or sometimes they take the AM and they feel sleepy. So what would
Right.
your advice would be for them?
And I'm really glad you brought that up, because it's not an infrequent thing, but it happens, to a number of people. And I say that's probably one of the best things that you could happen to you. And you're going to say, Dr. G, you must be crazy. Why are you saying that? When that happens, that's a sign that your body is detoxifying much more rapidly than a normal person would. And if that happens, that means there's a buildup of negative foreign compounds in your fat cells and your body cells. So AMPM, what it does do is increases the efficiency of your liver in order to pull out these negative compounds. So what you're doing is, for instance, if you take 2 AMs and 2 PMs, and you notice the first 2 or 3 days you feel groggy, you just don't feel right. The secret is to identify this as a mild detox reaction. And what you do is you cut your AM down to 1, your PM down to 1. If you still have that, you just cut out, you do your AM only for a few days, then add 1 tablet of your PM, and slowly give your body a chance to remove these toxins and to limit the amount of detoxification. And I've done that probably for hundreds of people who've asked me that, like Jeunesse distributors, and they go, wow, man, like, and certain people, I just say to them, stop taking AMPM, take it every other day for a week, and then start to do every day with 1 tablet, and then move to 2 tablets, and you'll get right through this. But that's a sign that your body has accumulated a lot of toxic compounds, and this product is helping you get rid of it.
Oh, wow, that's a good point. Now I also know the reason why when I do the detox with the Zen, I get sleepy too. Now,
Yes, yeah, exactly.
it's the same idea, right? So
Exact same thing, yes.
okay, okay, and then maybe we can call this the last question. Let's see. Oh, this is common. This is probably a common question. Yeah, a lot of people, they seem to have deeper dreams when they take the PM.
Yes.
What do you think about that? Or, you know,
No, that's really good. So let me explain to you this. And again, this book, Why We Sleep, and I'll recommend this book again. You can get this on Amazon. It's by Dr. Walker from Harvard. When you have more dreams, people really tend to dream more on this. When you're dreaming, you're in a state of what we call REM sleep, or rapid eye movement. When you're in REM sleep, your brain is taking the information it's processed during the day in the short-term memory, which is kind of in the hippocampus region, and moving it into the frontal lobe. So that's your long-term storage. If you don't have REM sleep, your memory for the events, your recent memory for the events that passed the day before are not going to be stored. So again, that's another reason why sleep is so important. You want to get into dream sleep more and more. And you want to get in the next stage after REM sleep or dream sleep is deep sleep. And that's where most of cell repair occurs. So we do have little, like an Apple Watch or the Oura Ring, the little ring I wear, measures my total sleep, my REM sleep, my deep sleep. And I have a number of patients they all use this ring. And if they're not getting enough deep or REM sleep, I'll have them add an extra PM or 2 PMs until we adjust, and we can see it daily on their app on the phone. So there's ways of actually measuring this too. So that's the reason for REM sleep is great. Deep sleep is great too.
Great. Now I know there's still tons of questions, and a lot of it relates to, you know, particular medical advice. Maybe we can just have our viewers tonight, because time is limited. Maybe I think the best advice is probably let them get back with their doctors. I mean, maybe that would be the best.
Yeah, but I do want to mention one thing, and this is one more thing. I've had at least 100 people tell me that, you know, I gave my older mother and father, they're in a nursing home. I gave them AMPM because, you know, I wanted to try something. And what's amazing is I've had patients, a number of them whose parents have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And a month later, the mother or parent will look at their child and say, why am I here? What's going on? And guess what? They didn't have Alzheimer's disease. They had severe nutrient depletion. Their hormonal levels, their antioxidant levels, their cells were running on empty as far as fuel goes. And I'm completely convinced there are probably thousands of people in nursing homes with diagnoses that are due to nutrition deficiencies and lack of enzymes that could dramatically live better quality lives at home and not be in nursing homes and be with their families. So this is a big thing we're going to be focusing on in the future as well.
Wow, wonderful. Maybe in conclusion, you know, obviously we are in a very particular time, literally, I think, in a unique time in the history.
Human history.
Right. Yeah, human history, right? So maybe moving forward, maybe to conclude the webinar, maybe you can give some advice on how we can get through this time.
So listen, right now we're facing something we've never faced as a species before. There's a virus. Now, we've had many viruses. We seem to get through them, but there's something different about this virus. We don't know if immunity, that those who make it through this or don't have symptoms but get infected and have immunity, we don't know if that immunity is going to be something that's good for 6 months, a year. But it's not like like, for instance, immunity you get from vaccines normally help with certain things like tuberculosis or measles or chickenpox, because you get it once and you're done. Now, viruses, that's usually not the case. So even if this vaccine works, the question is, will it work in the long run? We're definitely going to see new viruses, or this virus raise its head again, whether it's next year or the year after. So the real secret here is maintaining a strong immune function throughout the year. And when we say immune function, this isn't just for viruses and bacteria, but this is for tumors that could develop in a human body. And it's all about as we age, we lose our immune function. So we need to do everything we can to support a more optimal function. And I think we need to keep that in mind these days more than anything else. And that's why I'm recommending not just Jeunesse products, but we have a bundle of 3 products that'll really make a difference, but your lifestyle, your stress levels, and spending time with people that are important for you, with you, your family and your parents, because you lose every day you miss them or you don't communicate, you'll lose that day. And believe it or not, in all the studies for longevity, all the groups that have lived longer, one of the key factors is they have more social interaction with their family and friends. And that seems to be a big, big input, a factor on living a longer, healthy life.
Wow. Great advice. And, as I was listening, I can see it. I think we accomplished what we set out to do. All your advice is very heart-based and very empowering. Thank you so much, Dr. Giampapa. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, and I look forward to talking to you again, and this whole new series on the AMPM webinar, which will go into more depth on everything we spoke about.
Well, we look forward to it. Well, everybody, it's been amazing. We ran over, but it's been amazing. Hour and 20 minutes or so. And we want to thank Dr. Giampapa very much for your time, for your not effort, but your commitment to all of us, because you have, this is your life's work and your passion, and we can hear it in your tone and the way you talk about, sharing this important information for all of us. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. And I wish all of you a very safe next couple of months and healthy next couple of months, and just do everything you can to stay safe and follow the regulations and recommendations.
Well, everybody, it's been an amazing time with all of you. Thank you for participating. Hope that, you took notes and practice what Dr. G talked about today. And we look forward to the next time we see you on this webinar. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.